turn the recording on. Okay, excellent. So, good afternoon. My name is Charles White, and I am one of your co-coordinators for Lenore County Public Schools and Elementary Battle of the Books and all that fun stuff. So what we're going to talk about today is just some details on our regional Elementary Battle of the Books competition. If you have a question, just put it in the chat area. And what I'll do is afterwards, if I can't answer it here, I'll make sure I send a question or your answer out to you, because we want to make sure everyone is covered and everyone knows what's going on. First thing to note is our date for Elementary Battle of the Books. If you do not know, the competition is next week, the 27th. Hope everybody can be there. It is going to be awesome. We are going to be at Teachers Memorial Training School, and that is on Marcella Drive here in Kinston, North Carolina. The address and location is out there on the screen. And just for your knowledge, too, I'm going to email this presentation to you so you'll have all the details, so you don't have to write everything down. We do have, 8 schools participating this year, which is awesome. I can't wait. These are all first place teams from their district. It's just going to be amazing. We also want to welcome, there's 2 schools, Green and I think Pamlico, that only have 1 elementary school in their system. So this will actually be their first competition. So that's awesome too. So just a note, we are at Teachers Memorial and is on Marcella Drive in Kinston, North Carolina. Just to throw this out there, we need officials. Let me go back. We have got to have some officials. Every county is supposed to contribute at least 1 official, but we're still some short. If you're from Craven or Onslow, we have not received an official from you yet, but we still need a couple people. So if you have anyone else that can volunteer to help us out, we'd really appreciate it. As you know, we'll talk about the format in a few minutes, but as most of you have probably heard, we run multiple rooms, and as such, we need enough volunteers to cover every one of those rooms. But I need to know by Thursday, April 23rd, if you have somebody that can volunteer so we can get them on the program for the competition. Just to point out, if you have an extra official that you can send, somebody who wants to come and help us out to either be a scorekeeper, timekeeper, or a moderator, please let us know. Just email Kathy Lawson. Her email address is right there on the screen. And we need that by Thursday. If you're Craven or Onslow, we still need your volunteer so we can add you to the list. And just to point this out, on the day that we arrive next week, our volunteers, which are judges and moderators and scorekeeper timekeepers, we are going to meet in room 2324 when we first get to the competition, because we want to make sure everyone has a good understanding of the rules and make sure everybody understands what's going on for that day. Later on this week, I will be sending out the rules and just kind of some brief how-tos, like how to be a scorekeeper, how to be a timekeeper, how to be a moderator. We're going to send those out just so everybody has those, and you can pass those along to your volunteers to make sure they understand what's going on before they get there. All right. So moving right along, as a reminder, all schools need to bring $20 with them. That is the fee for our regional competition. The $20 covers all of our ribbons and trophies and all of that fun stuff. Some of our districts have already paid. I think Duplin and Wayne have both already sent their checks in. But if you haven't yet, that's no big deal. Just bring the funds with you on the day that you come, just to make sure everything is covered. All right. Parking at Teachers Memorial. See, this is going really quick. So when we get to Teachers Memorial next week, there are several places to park. You'll notice over to the far corner here is bus parking, and we do reserve that just for our buses. Some of you won't bring buses, and that's okay. We do have our main parking lot over here to the left, and we also have overflow parking behind the center. What I'm going to ask, though, is that you do not use this front area. The facility that we're hosting our event at is a training center, but it's also a pre-K center. So we do have pre-kindergarten on site at that location. Most of the schools, that'll be no issue at all, or most of the locations in the building will be no problem. But there are places that are off site or off limits to where we can go on that site. So we want to make sure that that's the case. But that front area, we do have a lot of preschool students and parents that are coming through there, and we ask that our buses and stuff not come or use that front driveway unless it is raining. If it is raining, I'll remove the cones and the school buses can pull right up to the front and drop your students off. But if it's a clear day, I'm going to ask that all the buses park in the correct area and that any cars either park along the street or in the parking lot or in the overflow parking. All right, excellent. So this is a map of Teachers Memorial. So what we'll do, when you first come into the main entrance, right here at the very front, you'll have a setup table for registration. That table is going to include your sign-in sheets and your packets for your schools. Your packets are going to include many things. It's going to include like your schedule of rounds. It's going to include your certificates, your name cards, everything that you need for that day will be available within those packets. Once you log in and sign for your packet, you'll go into the auditorium right over here. In the auditorium, all the students will be meeting in there. During that same time, our officials will go to room 2324, where we're going to run through the schedule for the day and make sure we answer any questions from the officials and kind of go over and make sure they understand how the rounds work and how the rooms work. Some of you are not familiar or have never been a part of a multi-room competition before. So we do run 4 rooms simultaneously, and that's unusual for some people, but that's okay. You'll love it, I think. But I will say that, when you come in, you'll register here in the main entrance. Your students will go to the auditorium. We'll send your officials over to 2324. Once we get started, we'll have our opening remarks in the auditorium. Then we'll start our competition rounds. And it'll be in one of these 4 rooms, either 7, 8, 17, or 23, 24. And we'll begin those rounds, and we will keep battling most of the morning. We will have a break after, I think, the 3rd round. We'll have a 15-minute break, allow you to just take a breather to get a snack or whatever you want to do. We also have room in the cafeteria, which we'll use for the break area and for our lunch area. All right, so our lunch will be approximately 11:55 to 12:20. Of course, that's an estimated time. I just want to make it really clear that lunch is up to each school. So the school is responsible for bringing their own lunch with them that day. Students and staff cannot leave campus during the competition because we keep things going the entire time. So any lunch that you want to have, you'll need to bring with you during that time. So make sure you have your lunches and everything is arranged for that. All right, so as I was saying before, our rounds are made up of 4 rooms. We are a round-robin format plus a tiebreaker, and what that means is that every team will battle every other team. And we will have, after each round, you'll go into a room, you'll battle against one team, you'll continue that battle. When that battle is done, we'll switch rooms and we'll keep switching back and forth until you have battled against every other team. Now, that might mean that you might be in the same room multiple times, and that's okay. But we try to balance it out so that every team has at least every moderator at least once. But you will battle against every other team within our competition, which this year that is 7 other teams for a total of 8. All right. Now, tiebreaker rounds. Tiebreakers are unusual when we're doing our regional competition. I want to make sure I cover that with you. We only run a tiebreaker for first place. So I want to make sure everyone is on the same page for that. So if it is a first place tie, what will happen is we will take those 2 teams and they will battle it out in the auditorium in front of everyone. For second and third place, if there is a tie, we refer back to their head-to-head competition. So what that means is, let's say Craven and Onslow tied for second place, and during that tie, Craven beat Onslow County by 1 point. Well, if that was the case, then Craven would be second place and Onslow would be third. So a tiebreaker round is only used for first place. So second and third, we look at the head-to-head competition to determine who wins. All right, let me check my chat area. All right, excellent. Right. Schedules and packets. So like I was saying before, on the day you arrive, we will have a packet for you to sign off on for your coach. It'll include, of course, the schedule events for that day, a set of the rules, your score sheets, and what that is an area for you to write down your scores each round as you do, your name cards for your students, and your printed certificates for your students. All of these will be available for you. If for some reason there's any mistakes, just let us know and we will get those to you as soon as possible. I know some of my schools here in Lenoir County will save their certificates to the end of the year and issue them on awards day. Some of them do it immediately, so it's really up to your school how you do it. But every school will get a certificate of participation for battling in the regional competition. Awards. So we do base awards on total cumulative points. Now, what that means is, as I was saying before, we have 4 rooms that are battling, and every round a team is battling another team. So your points add up throughout the entire day. And at the end of the day, while y'all are eating lunch, Kathy and myself will go through and we will verify every single round to make sure that all the points are correct and that everyone is in. And then the total amount of points will determine the place rankment. So first place, you will receive, with the highest points, you'll receive medallions, you'll receive your first place ribbon. And this year we were able to get a trophy, so you'll receive a large trophy for you to take home. Our second and third place will receive ribbons for them to come home. Now, we already talked about tie rounds. It's for first place only. All other ties being head-to-head competition. Our leave time, when we're dealing with tie rounds, we have to make sure that our schools are able to leave in time so that they can get back and dismiss their students. So our drop dead time is 1 o'clock. So if we still have a tie game going at 1 o'clock, the teams will be declared dual winners for that year, and both will be awarded their certificates and stuff like that. The only thing we don't have is 2 trophies, but we'll work that out. Hopefully we won't have a tie. There'll be a clear winner. But I want you to understand that at 1 o'clock, or as close to 1 as we can possibly get, if there is still a tie, we cannot go past 1 o'clock. If that happens, we do have a process in place to award those winners. Just some general information. Of course, keep in mind, we do need volunteers. Most of you have been awesome. You sent in names, but we need some extra people. So if you can, try to recruit at least one more person and just email us and let us know. We do encourage your teams to wear either team t-shirts or school t-shirts so you're easily identifiable. We encourage you to discuss good sportsmanship with your team prior to coming here. It's a good opportunity for you to just kind of lay down the law, talk with your team, and just encourage that in their play. I do want to point out that we are sponsored by Perma Brown, which is great, and they will be issuing a full set of next year's titles to the first place winner. So if you win, you will get next year a full set of books from Permabound. All right, and that is about all for today. So just kind of to recap, I want to make sure you know our location is in Teachers Memorial here in Kinston. We're battling against 8 schools in round robin with 4 rooms. That we do need officials to help with this. Hold up one second. We need some extra officials, so if you can, please help. If you know their names, please email them to Kathy Lawson in Wayne County. She is putting together the final touches on the program, and she will need those names to go into the program. She's printing them on Thursday to have them for next week. So if you get to her after Thursday, their name won't be in the program. Make sure you're bringing your $20 fee to cover all the ribbons and trophies. We already talked about parking. If you're driving a car, use the parking lot or the overflow parking behind. The bus parking lot is here to the side. Please reserve it for that. You also have overflow parking on the street. The front driveway is we are not going to use unless it is raining. If it is raining, then you can drop your students off in there, but that's the only time we can use that. Within the school, the yellow area here is a pre-K area, and that is off bounds. But we will be in the auditorium. We'll be in these 4 competition rooms and the cafeteria for our snack area and our meal. Make sure you bring a lunch with your school. Our lunchtime estimated will be about 11:55 or so, and to about 12:10. Of course, that all depends on how the rounds go and things like challenges and stuff like that. Um, 4 rooms, round robin, battling each other. You'll receive your packets on the day that we come. We base awards on total cumulative points. First place will get a trophy, medallions, and ribbons. Second and third will get a ribbon. We only do tie rounds for first place. Our drop dead time is 1 o'clock. And that is about all. So, do any of y'all have any questions whatsoever about this year's competition? If you do, just chat them over to the side and we'll try to answer you. I can also, put it on mute or take you off mute if you want to talk. But anyway, other than that, if you'll just use the chat area to the side. The first question is fee payable cash or check, and who's it made out to? If you have a check, please make it out to Lenoir County Public Schools, Lenoir. So Lenoir County Public Schools if you have a check. 12 students is the max. That is correct. We do abide by the state guidelines and rules. And I'll be sending those out to the main contacts for your elementary ballot books to make sure you have a copy. So please read through those. But yes, 12 students is the maximum number you can have. No alternates or anything. You can only bring 12 students with you. That is state rule. Are there any other questions? All right. Well, if there's, let's see. Do you know for sure if Duplin has paid? I think Duplin has paid. Not 100% sure, but I'm pretty sure. I can check in just a little bit, and then I will email, who's that? Kristen, I believe, to make sure. But I think Duplin is paid. And if you could, from Duplin, if you could just send me a private text with your email, and I'll email you this afternoon with an answer, definitely. Yes, our start time is 9 a.m. That's a great question. Schools need to be on site around between 8:45 and 9 o'clock. All right, so we are going to, the way the schedule will go, let me pull it up real quick so we have it. Give me 1 second. So I'm looking for the schedule, make sure I have that. All right. So hopefully y'all can all see my screen now again. Our estimated time of arrival is between 8:30 and 9 o'clock. Usually we expect most of them to be here about 8:45. At 9 to 9:20, we will meet with all the officials and make sure everyone is on the same page. We'll have our opening remarks at 9:20. That shouldn't take but a few minutes. Our official first round will begin at 9:30, and then we'll continue battling to about 12. So at 11:55, we'll break for lunch. During that time, we will do all of the information about adding scores. Now, one of the things, just to let you know, that I will do is as we do our scorekeeping, I will send an email to you later with your scores, with your average numbers correct per round, your average number of rebounds correct. So all of that kind of information to help you grow a little bit. Anything we can do to share, just let me know. All right. Are there any other questions? All right. Well, if there's no questions, then that's going to be about it for today. So I look forward to seeing everyone next week. I think it's going to be an awesome time. Like I said, 8 schools, all of them first place teams. That is just amazing. It's going to be very competitive. Now, I will say in Lenore, this year we had a great time with ours. The difference between our first place and second place team was 1 point. It was a tight game. We loved it. It was great. We didn't know who was going to the very last round. Um, so just, I hope everyone has a great time, I guess is what I'm saying, because it is really fun. Now, I will say that we do not share the scores between rounds. So your students and you will not know who is winning until the very end. You only know what your scores are. When I talk to my teams, one of the things I talk to them about is, if somebody has a bad round, it's okay because other people can have bad rounds in other rooms. So make sure you share that with your students, encourage them on, because it's an awesome way to do elementary Battle of the Books. Question came up about the audience. Can parents come? Yes, we have plenty of room. Invite anyone that you want to invite. So parents, grandparents, and uncles, whoever wants to come, all of them are welcome to attend and watch your students. Plenty of things to do, plenty of things to watch. All right. Are there any other questions that we have for today? Anything you want to talk about? Kathy and I have kind of gone through and designated the volunteers, so we kind of know who's doing timekeeping, scoring, and moderating. Like I said, we are still missing some volunteers. I need volunteers, but we'll be sending that out this week. And if you could share that with your volunteer, because in that we're going to send kind of like a getting started guide. We'll send the rules, the quick reference, and all of that information that they need to have read prior to getting to this location. All right. Oh, thank you, Stacy. I appreciate that. Stacy was just saying that she participated last year and it ran well. We hope it goes as good as this year as we did last year. I think it's going to be amazing. So if y'all don't have any questions, then I guess we are done for today. Let me add one other thing. My email address is right here on the screen. So if you have any questions between now and Monday, just feel free to email me, and I'll try my best to get back to you as soon as possible. The great thing about elementary battle books, when you get into the middle school battle books, it starts getting really competitive. But elementary battle books can be so amazing. The children are just on point. They just, they're competitive, but, it's very friendly environments. And, I just hope we all encourage that and can move forward. So if y'all don't have anything else, then that's about it for me today. Look forward to seeing everybody next week. Can't wait for it. It's going to be awesome. Thank y'all so much and have a great day.
Jack.